Alright folks, this is exciting. Check it out.
In this 11 gallery ATV episode,
We're going to continue on with this back end right here. Yes sirs and ma'ams. We are going to continue putting in this bearing carrier into the swing arm down here. And then we're going to get it secured down with the brake caliper brackets. And we're going to be greasing everything up. And we're going to be getting the snap ring installed and O-rings and all kinds of crazy stuff. We're going to get this brake rotor hooked up. We're going to get the lock nut, the axle lock nut secured down. Woo! This is exciting. Yep, we're going to get the wheels on this thing. We're going to get the axle pushed through. Yes, and we're going to get the hubs on and the wheels, and we're finally going to make this dog a roller. It's going to be able to roll on the ground with all four wheels. Woo! This is exciting. We're going to be getting the brake caliper hooked up. We're going to be getting the brake master cylinder hooked up and the brake pedal, woo, to the frame and this whole brake system back here. Yes, this is very exciting. Woo! So yeah, so you want to make sure that you stay tuned and make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you change those notifications from personalized to all so that you can get notified whenever 11 Gallery ATV puts out the new videos. Yeah, you only get notified if you change the settings from personalized to all. I'm not sure why YouTube did that, but they did. So make sure that you do that and you get notified whenever 11 Gallery ATV puts out the new videos. Alright, let's move on to this brake caliper and get this sucker hooked up down there to the rotor. Woohoo! So without further ado, let's move on. Alright folks, now it's time to get our bearing carrier installed, and yeah, let's get that baby right here. We got it all cleaned up and ready to rock. We're gonna shove that dog right on through here, but first we're gonna have to put a couple things on and do a couple things to it. First off, we are going to O-ring up on each side. You can see this little slot right here and right here. Just get a couple of O-rings that are gonna fit in this slot, and you know what we're gonna do? We're going to grease up these O-rings. There's one. In this rare instance, we don't need to wipe our hands off or anything because we're going to be putting grease on this guy too, so we can just shove these guys right on there. Boom. They just go in that slot right there, and then the other guy, right on in there like so. And then next what I like to do is grease up the whole inside of here so that it doesn't seize up, which it looks like it's not going to, but we're going to do it anyway. I'm going to take myself a big giant coat and just put it along inside of here. And then a little bit on here. You don't want a lot on this part right here though, because otherwise it's going to just squish on up in there and it's gonna bind up and things won't seat properly, but a little coat on there is not gonna hurt anything. All right, then we just shove this baby right on through. At least I thought we did. There you go. Shove that guy right on through. And see what I mean right here? That's why you don't want the grease, because right there, it would just squish on in there and bind up right here, and you don't want that. So, all right, now we're just going to twist this guy. I don't really know where this is going to end up, but just based off of my previous experiences, I think this guy is going to end up. What the hell? Over here somewhere. We have no idea where it's going to end up, but I'm going to put this facing down. So we got one this way, one down. Perfect. Looks good to me. Woo! All right. No idea why I did all that. All right, next we need to put this little guy in here. And we're going to have to take all the bolts out in order to do that, so. All right, and then you know what time it is. All these rubber pieces, I like to put grease on them, so this one's no exception. The Maxima waterproof grease. All right, and then it has a little stopper on the bottom right here, so you know how far to go in. So we're just gonna throw this dog in here and push it up into there, and then we're just gonna line up the holes and put the bolts back in. Oh yeah, we caught. All right. We're going to tighten those down just a little bit right now. We're not going to torque them, of course, yet because we don't know where this is going to end up. We just want to tighten it down a little bit right now so we can keep it from spinning around and moving around because we're going to install the axle. Hells yeah, let's get this axle in there and then we can get some wheels on this dog and we'll be sitting on the ground finally. Yeah, woo! Let's do it. All right, next step is we're going to put the brake caliper bracket on here. All right, we're gonna make this look awesome. Here we go. All right, next step is we're gonna put the brake caliper bracket on here, right here, this guy. And the very first step we have to do with that is put the guide pin in there. And if you remember right, this thing did not want to come out of here. I had to jump up and down on it and do all kinds of stuff. And come to find out, it was thread locker red in there. And guess what? We're doing the same thing again. I lied. We're going to use some more thread locker red one more time before the motor. And it's going to be this guy because you don't want this guy coming out. But I'll tell you what, if I had it to do all over again, I would not take this out at all. If you're at this stage where you're tearing stuff down, well, you wouldn't be because why would you be watching this? But yeah, I would have left this in there, powder coated right over the top of it, because then that would leave a tighter fit on here. Then you can just grind down the powder coat and leave a perfectly tight fit, or even just pound it on. And that would leave a nice tight fit on this guy. But anyhow, that was then, this is now. Thread locker red, let's get her done. 271, you don't want to use the 272. Well, I mean, if you never want it to come out again, you can. All right, and then we'll zip it down the easy way before we torque it. Boom! Then we'll torque this dog to 40 foot-pounds. 40. All right, next we're gonna put this guy on. What I'm gonna do is take some of the Maxima waterproof grease and put a coat on this guy right here. And then we put the spacer on, and the grease will keep this from seizing up on there. All right, and then what you want to do, you can see that it has a raised edge right here, and that goes to the back. And then this guy gets an O-ring. So we got two O-rings. We got a bigger one and a smaller one. And we have two slots here on the carrier. The O-ring is going to go in the back slot. The front slot is for the clip. So let's get these greased up. Back one first, the bigger one. And of course we're going to use our Maxima waterproof grease. And we'll just slide that right on here. Make sure you don't get in the groove. Put a little coat around the outside of here while we're here. And then the smaller ring. And it's going to go in the back slot. And we'll put a little light coat on the inside of here as well. And then this guy is going to face like this. And we'll put a little bit more grease on this guy. And then this guy is going to go right on here. And it's going to catch that as well. And we might have to persuade it a tiny bit. All right, now we got the clip, and the snap ring is going to go right on here like so. And once again, we'll take a little more of our Maxima waterproof grease, and we'll just grease up both sides of this guy. All right, then we take our snap ring pliers, and we'll grab this. And then what I like to do is spread it and try to snag the bottom. Boom. And then it's not all the way on, so what you want to make sure you do here is grab yourself a screwdriver or a punch or whatever you have handy, and make sure you give it a few taps. And there we go. Now you should be all nice and secure. See, that thing doesn't even move. That thing is on there. All right, now we're gonna put our axle through. Woo! But we have a couple more things we have to do to it first before we can put it through. So, yeah, we're gonna put a couple of O-rings on here. Yeah, we have these two O-rings, and one is gonna go right here, and the other one is gonna go right here. So let's get these on first. And once again, we're going to use some of the Maxima waterproof grease. And we're just going to feed this guy right on here. And we're going to go all the way across with this one. And it's going to go right here. And then we have another one. And we'll start it up here again. And this one is going to go right here. And then next we have our sprocket hub, and it is going to go with this facing towards the carrier, because this is going to fit inside the seal here. Plunk. So first, what we're going to do is we are going to grease up these splines right here. And a little bit where the pin, where the circlip goes, and a little bit on the circlip. All right, and then this hub is going to go, like I said, but this way, facing in. Boom. You just want to get it right up to there. And then our circlip is going to go right in this little groove right here. And the way we're going to accomplish that is by taking us a screwdriver there, we got that side in, boom. And then this is just going to come back to it. We don't need to worry about the sprocket right now because it'll fit over the top. And we're going to need to put the wheels on and stuff probably in order to get this torqued up anyway. Grease this baby up before we slide it through. So what I like to do is just grease this all up right here. And a little light coat on the outside of here too. There you go, that'll just stop it from rusting and getting all gross in there. Now we'll throw a little bit in here and grease up the inside of the seals a bit, which we already did when we built this thing, but just a little bit more in there is not going to hurt nothing. All right, folks, now we can just shove this axle through. So it just goes right on in here. And hopefully that bolt comes out the other side without jacking anything up. Look at that. Boom. All right. There we go. Boom, and then into the seal. All right, folks, next step is going to be to put the brake rotor on and the brake rotor bracket, because we have to secure the brake rotor to the brake rotor bracket first in this case, unlike the Sprocket. This dog, I got lucky with mine. It looks like it doesn't matter. There's no writing on it, and it looks the same on both sides. I could be wrong, but in my case, I got lucky, and I can see where the bolts were. They were on this side, so that means that it's going to go just like this with the bolts out here. And we're gonna blue Loctite them, and it gets torqued to 24 foot-pounds. So let's get her done. There you go. You want to make sure that they drop all the way in. And these babies get torqued to 24 foot-pounds. So let's see if we can't get that done. All right, folks. So I'm a moron sometimes. You know, it happens. But this thing is going to face this direction on the axle, so we can obviously get to the nuts. I mean, we can obviously get to the bolts to torque them. So we're just going to assemble this dog real fast, and I'll show you how I'm going to get him torqued to 24 foot-pounds, which is not a whole lot, but it's not it's too much where I can hang on to this thing and just torque them. So yeah, here's what I'm going to do. We're just going to assemble it. So first, the Maxima waterproof grease. We're going to grease up the splines here. And we don't want the grease on these threads or on the rotor. That sucks. All right, so I went and got some brake cleaner and cleaned up this rotor. We don't want grease on there either. All right, so let's just put this dog on. And get that grease worked in, and then just shove that guy into there if we can. Oh, okay, well that works. Okay, plunk that into the seal, and then we have a washer, and it looks like that this thing is kind of concave, and I'm guessing the flat side would go in like this, so that it's kind of like a lock washer, so that it'll crush when it goes in there. And then we're going to use, you guessed it, thread locker blue. And then this guy. You want to make sure these guys are out all the way. Otherwise you're going to have a problem. And then we got us our handy dandy little tool right here that has a 1/2-inch slot for a torque wrench. We're not going to torque it right yet though. Let's get it tightened down first. And we'll probably have to wait to get the wheels on this thing to get it torqued down, because this dog gets torqued down to 175 foot-pounds. And I'm still not sure how I'm going to accomplish that, because my torque wrench only goes to 150 foot-pounds. And a torque wrench that goes to 175 foot-pounds costs a whole lot of money, and I don't feel like buying one. So I might have to torque this thing down to 150 foot-pounds and then take it down to a shop and pay somebody to torque it for me, which would probably be at the cost of a torque wrench, but what the hell, I only need to do it once anyhow. So anyway, that's we're just gonna tighten this down right now. Let's get these torqued up. 24 foot-pounds, and here's what I'm gonna do. In order to accomplish this, I'm gonna take a punch and I'm gonna put it through. So I'm gonna roll this back. I'm gonna put it through the brake caliper right there, and then we're gonna torque it. And now 24, 24, and now we'll do the other two. 24, 24, 24. And there you go, we're torqued up. All right, folks, now let's get us our sprocket hooked up. And we can get it torqued down when we get the wheels on, because it's going to be 52 foot-pounds. And there's no way we're going to be able to do that on an axle here. We're going to have to put the wheels on in order to get it torqued up. But let's get this sprocket on. And we have ourselves a dual sprocket guard right here. The way this is going to work is this guy has these little cutouts right here, countersinks, these little countersinks right here for the bolts. And this is going to go on first. And these are going to go in the back. So we're going to hook this guy up. And we're going to feed 2 bolts through first. So we're going to feed that one and this bottom one through first. And then we're going to put our sprocket on the outside here. And then the outer one has these ridges right here on there. And so it's going to butt up against the sprocket and allow some play for the chain to go through. Boom. And now we'll just throw a washer and a nut on these guys. And we're going to blue Loctite these as well. So even though these are nylocks, we're going to blue Loctite them anyway. And then we can spin this and get the other ones in. All right, and now we're going to hold it on the back end, and these are 17s. We're just going to zip these down real fast. And then we'll spin it again. Woo! All right, that looks beautiful. And now there's just enough room in there for the chain to go through. And yeah, let's get some wheels on this dog and some hubs. All right, now let's throw the hubs on so we can get the wheels on. Woohoo! We're almost gonna have a roller. We're almost gonna be sitting on the ground. This is exciting. Woohoo! All right. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna grease up these splines right here so they don't seize up on there. And we're gonna use this Maxima waterproof grease once again. All right, and let me just take our hub and we'll work the grease in. Make sure it gets in all of them. There we go, that fits good and tight. And then take the castle nut, and what we will do is use some blue Loctite, but we're not going to torque this right now. We're just going to get this set up, get the wheels on. But if you're at this stage, you want to put some blue Loctite on here, on this castle nut, and then it gets torqued down to 145 foot-pounds. But we're not ready for that stage yet. So you get a washer and the castle nut. But what we are going to do is just zip it down with the impact, just so it doesn't come off. And this is a 24 millimeter castle nut. There you go. Let's get the wheels on this thing. Woo! All right, folks, let's slide the wheels on. Woo! So we're going to have to zing this baby up over here and just pick this up. go. Come on, twist. Oh, you bitch. There it is. Woo! Oh yeah, and then each one of these wheels gets a washer. And a 14 nut. And then we're just going to zip these down with the impact right now, but they get torqued to 32 foot-pounds. So if you're putting your wheel on right now for reels, and not just for torquing purposes, then you would torque them to 32 foot-pounds. There we go, we're wheeled up, woohoo! All right, now we got the wheels on, woohoo! We can get this baby torqued down, and they get torqued to 52 foot-pounds. So let's get it done. 52. And what we'll have to do is just keep on spinning it so we can get this up to the top. There we go, now we can get the next one. 52. And now we just keep on rolling and doing that again 2 more times. And we'll be done. Woo! There we go, we're hooked up. Woo! That looks sweet. Alright folks, so now that we have the wheels on and we have the sprocket guard all secured down and the sprocket on there, let's move on to securing the brake caliper here to the brake rotor and into the brake caliper bracket right here. Or some people call it the brake caliper stay, however you would like to refer to it. But anyway, yeah, look at this brake caliper. It did not look like this when I pulled it off the machine, as you remember. So yeah, we still need to get these torqued up, but yeah, let's go out to the garage and rebuild this brake caliper, and I can show you how I got it to look all beautiful like this. So yeah, let's take a trip out to the garage. Woo! The rear, we're going to have to disassemble. So we're going to crack this guy. What we're going to do is we're going to pop the pistons, but we're going to use the old compressor here. We're going to use some compressed air. All right, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop the line off of here. Set it aside and we'll get it cleaned up. Got a banjo bolt with a couple washers. All right, let's crack the rear one here, the rear caliper. Let's get the fluid everywhere. That's why we got this down. And we're gonna be cracking these guys right here to get the pads out. But first, let us undo the parking brake. There we go. We'll just keep it tight though, because we're going to need to use air in order to get the pistons out. Well, let's see if we can't. Oh yeah, look at that. Not bad. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh, okay. All right, sometimes you got to get forceful with this stuff. All right, now in order to get the pistons out of here, what we're going to do, since there's dual pistons, we're going to use air And we are going to hit right through here, leave everything else connected. That's why we didn't take the parking brake off. I just wanted to crack-a-lack it. And the bleeder's still in there. So the only thing we have is right here, hopefully. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a rag, put it down here because these pistons could come out with some pretty good force. And this way we won't blow up the concrete. So we're gonna crack-a-lack that in there. And I'm at 80 PSI on my, boom. Check that out. So there's one. Now this one is still in there, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put it back in, just get it started, just like so, right? All right, so I couldn't really find much to use, but I found some old clutch fibers from a 200X. So check this out. I think 3 of them should do, right? So we'll put that back in a little bit, and it looks like only 2 of them. So it looks like we'll hold it like that, and then we'll hit it again. Boom. There you go. And that's how you get dual pistons out. All right, folks, check it out. Now that we got the pistons out and the pads out and the pins, we have brand new pins. So anyway, what we're gonna do here, first, there is a little clip down here. My guy is on there for some reason. Well, let's do this. Let's pull this off instead. Come on, you can do it. There it is. Separate these guys, and now we can pull the clips off much easier. So now we got a clip here. It just matches the hole right here. So we'll just get this cleaned up. And next, on this one, we have the parking brake, which we'll pull off. We're not putting the parking brake back on, by the way. So I guess technically, you know what? We could leave that on there. But that's the way you'd pull that off. But let's just get rid of this guy. 12 millimeter. And I think I should be able to hang on to it and crack it. Yes, sirs. And now the other guy. There, that's the easy way. We just get rid of that thing. We got us a parking brake block off where we're just gonna cover this up. The last step is to pull out the rubber and pull it out through here. I said, there, pull that guy out of there. And then this one just comes on out of there. And, oh yeah, we have the bleeder screw. 8 millimeter, we just get this guy right on out of there. And we gotta save this because we don't have another one of these, and this one's just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. All right, now, that clip is still in there. There it goes. All right, well that clip was doing its job for sure. See, we definitely wanna clean up inside of here, and clean up inside of here. And now we have one more step. We're not gonna crack this either. I'm not even sure what that is, to tell you the truth. Maybe, I don't know what that is. If you know what this is, let me know. What does this thing do? Put your comments down there if you didn't know what this thing is. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it there though. So, one more thing that we need to get out of here, because we got brand new ones over here, is these piston seals. So, fly these guys on out of there like that. There's one. There's the other one. And then we'll flip inside of here. And then we'll flip inside of this guy right here. You want to be careful too. You don't want to gouge any of the metal inside of here. These are really important seals. I went underneath the rubber and I didn't pry on any of the metal or anything like that. But yeah, let's get these cleaned up. All right, folks, now that we're done with disassembly, these are the only parts that we need left over to clean up. Our pistons, our pad brackets, the bleeder screw and the cap, our mounting bolts, of course, the body, and the pad stay. So let's get it cleaned up. All right, there it is. They are all cleaned up. Now, if only we could assemble it that fast, that would be a wonderful thing, right? But we don't have the magic button. Or what is it? The easy button. That was easy. Nope, we don't have one of those. All right, now we can do the back one. This one has an O-ring way back here in the back for the parking brake assembly here that sticks out of this piston. And that thing is a pain in the ass because I've done them a bunch of times, and sometimes I can get them right away, sometimes they take me a long time. But before we put these clips in, let's get that guy in there because that one's a pain in the ass. So let's just get it done. Let's see what we got in the... Hopefully we have that little guy because I threw the other one away. So we got our pins. 2 dealios there. Oh, look it, we got stickers. Woo! There it is. Look at that. That's the little guy I was talking about. All right, now we got all of our stuff ready to rock and roll. Oh yeah, we got the parking brake assembly too. We're not putting that crappy parking brake back on. So yeah, that's going to be the block off. It's going to go right here and cover. Boom. Where the parking brake used to be, and it has a cool O-ring in it, and yeah. First off, what we're gonna have to do is get this guy way back there in the back. And this hit or miss. So I'm gonna try to just drop it in there with a pair of needle nose pliers first. So we take our needle nose and we actually turn it this way. There you go. And now we're just gonna drop it where it belongs. I mean, you're not gonna see this, but all right, so it's down there. See, that thing's just kind of sitting there, but there, we're right on the hole. Let's see if I can't just jam it in there. That's what she said. Woo! And you cannot just jam it in there, and that's what she said also. Damn it. So, all right, so let's try the old. All right, so I got it kind of in there, and I got my finger over the back so it can't poke back out again.
1 eternity later.
There it is. Thank God. All right, so I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me get my hand off the back so the light goes through. But it's in there. You're gonna have to take my word for it. It's there. And that sucked. All right, so now we can finally move on to the rest of this stuff here, which is much easier. We're just gonna take our brake fluid over here, coat it up. And of course, we're gonna put it in to the bottom, and then we're just gonna slam it in there, like so. And then we'll take our other side here, the back seal. We will plunk it down in the bottom. See, this is what I mean. You get it started like that in the bottom. And then all you got to do is put your finger over it so it doesn't pop back out of the groove, and then just shove the top in. Boom. All right, now the front one. Boom. Now the other one. Get it lined up in the groove. Boom. Look at that. Like butter. Woo. Now we get this all, the brake fluid all in the piston back there too. All right, so now this is important. Obviously this one goes in the hole where we just put that other O-ring in the back. So that will keep the seal from leaking out of the back. So let's lube this up. I'm gonna get ready to shove it in. Get this lubed up too so it goes through the O-ring in the back. And now we can make sure we get it straight. Wiggle it around a little bit. Now we got to make sure it pops through the back. Boom. Boom. There we are. And see, that comes out the back over here. You know what we may have to do? I had to do this on one of my other brake ones. I think my 400EX I had to do this. I had to take the parking brake cover, and I had to drill this out. So there's still a little bit of meat left on here, right? I had to take this and go back farther. It's kind of tapered a little bit anyway, but I had to drill it back farther because every time, see, this one's gonna do it too. When I tighten it down, it pushes the piston back out. And it was activating the parking brake when I tightened this down, so I had to take more metal out of there. Anyway, let's get that other piston in here. Again, they go with this end facing backwards. Sometimes you can crank it this way so that you can keep it straight. Boom. There it is. Now we can get rid of the brake fluid. We want to get our hands clean. So wipe it on your pants. Next, we're going to put our clips on. This guy is going to go facing this way. Put a little bit of grease underneath here. That'll just keep it from seizing up on there and rusting out any more than it already is. So yeah, you just slam that down there and voila. Then we have another one of these little clippy doos. Let's put a little bit of grease underneath here as well. So a little bit underneath here. The little teeth go into these little slots right here. So now we can get our dust boots, and you can always tell which one goes where, because the one that has the lip, that will get this guy right here, because this one has a lip and it's going to sit inside of there. And this one is going to shove through this way. We're going to grease up the inside of here for sure. This part right here where that little dip is will be inside of here. So we want to make sure at least you grease that up. Get it like so. And we're going to get it scrunched all up together and then stuff it in there with a screwdriver. But you got to be careful so you don't puncture it. Make sure that you're getting meat and not like a little bit of rubber. You want to get the whole thing in there and stuff that in there. And once it's started, it usually goes right on through, just like so. And then I give it a twist to make sure that all that grease is rolling around in there. And now once again, we put a little bit of grease on the lip. And then we shove the bottom in first and then stuff the top in. And then twist it a little bit. Oh, see, we missed a little bit of the top there. There we go. Shove that in there. Boom. Beautiful. And then while we got the grease all in our hands, we're going to grease these pins up. And you want a lot of grease on these pins too, because they're going to go inside that rubber. I need to cut my fingernails. Look at that. I'm getting grease. My fingernails are turning blue. Woo! Anyway, now you can take these guys and you can match up the holes. Boom. Slide right on through there. Now we need our brake pads. And it's easy to tell which way it goes where, because the pins holes are going to go down, and obviously this one goes in the back because we need the pad facing this way. So we shove that guy through there like so, and then this one is going to go like this. And it's going to sit right there. But what we need to do now, all right, so now we need to catch the holes. So we look at this one, and then we got that spring on there. There we go. Through there. And then make sure that we catch the back one. There we go. Caught the back one. And now we put this one through, and we can push this down till we catch. There we go. And then we might have to take us a screwdriver right here, push the back one down, boom, till we get it to work. See, there we go. We can get these started a bit, just to make sure we caught the threads. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And now, I'm going to take some cardboard and just put it in there. And I'm going to use this to throw right on in between there. So that will keep it from closing back up. Now, of course, we have our bleeder screw. Dealio, we get it started. And then what I do is I pull it out, and walk it down. There we go. And now we can close it up, snap. And of course, it goes right on in here. And now, of course, we have our parking brake block off. But yeah, then this baby is just gonna go right on in here. And there's our rear brake. Boom! All right, folks, now that we got this baby all looking beautiful and brand new right now. By the way, these pins, the brake pad pins, get torqued down to 12 foot-pounds, and I took care of that already. So if you haven't done that yet, I know we didn't do it when we rebuilt them. Put the caliper in a vise and torqued these down to 12 foot-pounds, which is 144 inch-pounds if you want to get that done. All right, woohoo! So let's get this baby installed. So all it does, these little right here, get bolts right here, and they go into these little holes right here. Woo, pretty simple. But first, cardboard out of the pads that were holding them open, and now we can just fit this over the top of the rotor there and hope it stays. We're gonna use some blue Loctite on these guys. And then we'll blue Loctite the other guy. We'll just get them started real fast. All right, and then these bolts right here get torqued to 31 foot-pounds. So let's get her done. 31. 31, let's make sure. 31. And 31. And that's all there is to that. We're calipered up. Let's get the rest of these brakes done. Woo! All right, folks, now that we got our caliper in, we can bust out the master cylinder, the brake lever, and all of these guys that go up here, the springs and all that good stuff. It goes right up here into the frame. So yeah, so basically, we're gonna route all of this stuff to the brake caliper down there, and it's gonna wrap around the frame here, and the reservoir is going to attach up here. So, let's get this sucker installed, shall we? We're going to start out by putting on the brake pedal. So let's get that done. And I got mine all shined up and beautiful. Look at that shiny dog right there. Woo! Yeah. Anyway, I didn't do any recording on that, but all we did was took it out to the wheel out there and gave her a good old buff up with a Scotch-Brite pad. Super sweet. Anyway. So yeah, what we're going to do here though, is we're going to grease the inside of here with the Maxima waterproof grease, of course. And we're also going to put a coat on here. So let's get that done. And then what I'm going to do, there's this little threaded dealio right here, and it has a hole in it. And that's where the spring goes for the brake light. But for right now, we're not doing the wiring yet. I'm going to put something on here so that we don't scuff up the old... I want to get that good and greased up in there. So we don't scuff up the powder coat there. And then we have a spring that's going to go from here and underneath to here. So we're going to put this in there. And then we're going to try to take our vice grips here. I keep calling these vice grips, but look, it says vice grips on there. These are channel locks. But these are Vice Grip brand channel locks. So I guess I should call them the right goddamn thing, right? But they screwed me up when they said vice grips on there. I know what vice grips are. Anyway, yeah, let's get this guy hooked up in there if we can. This was a pain in the ass last time. But we're going to try to snag it right here and hook it up into there. Boom! Just like that. Boom. Now we got a brake pedal. Push that on there. We'll get some of this grease out of there. Because by the way, right here, these two holes right here are the foot pegs. And we'll get into that later. So there's nothing that goes over the top of this right now except for the foot peg. It's going to slam on here. And we'll get into that later. For right now, we're just going to leave it like it is. Like so. And yeah. Now, we're going to put on the old master cylinder. This is actually a pretty simple little dealio. I never took mine apart. So I have the joys of having it together like it was. But anyway, basically you have the reservoir right here, which is going to hook on to the back coming off, and this is going to the caliper. So what's going to happen here is all of it is going to get wrapped through here. Now this guy, you want to bring it through here and put on the master cylinder just like so. And we're going to put this over the top of that. So now this gets a couple of Allen bolts. And we're going to blue Loctite them. And the other one. Let's get these bolts started. All right, now these bolts get torqued down to 14 foot-pounds. 14. And 14. All right, and now this guy has this bolt right here. And this guy right here is going to go into this part right here into the frame. And it needs to go around through here. And then we have a little piece that goes on here, like so. And yeah, it gets wrapped around here. But let's go back here. I want to show you what's going on here. So behind the frame, we have this little clippy-do right here, and this brake reservoir hose is going to go into there before it goes up to the top. So this reservoir, you want to make sure it goes around here first in the front, and it goes right up into here. And we're going to blue Loctite this bolt. And then as you can see, there's a little clip on here, and that's going to poke through the hole that's up here, so keep it from moving. So we'll get all that secured. Boom, then it goes through the hole. And then you just put this bolt in. We're not going to tighten that down quite yet. It looks like we can. Make sure this is in front of here though. And we have the Loctite on there, so we're just going to zip this guy down. No need to torque it, just make sure it's tight. And not overly tight. There we go, that should take care of that. And then these two little bolts right here that hold this bracket on. We're going to blue Loctite these guys. And the other one. And then this bracket. And there you go. Brake reservoir secured down. Woo! All right, folks. Now that we're all buttoned up, we have one more thing left to do up here in the front of this brake system, and that's to put the pin through here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of the Maxima waterproof grease, and we're going to grease up this pin here. And then we're going to apply the brake a little bit, get the hole lined up, and send that guy through. Then we'll grease up the washer. All right, and then the washer goes right over the back here. And then find the holes with the cotter pin. And you just drive this guy in there. And you might have to turn it. Boom. And just bend it around. Done. Woo! Now let's get this brake line hooked up to the caliper and we'll be all set. Alright, one more step. We're going to fly this brake line to the brake caliper and we're going to secure it down to the swing arm along the way. So let's get this baby rocking and rolling here. So what's going to happen is this guy is going to go across to there. And then we have two brackets. One has this little wiry thing at the top, and one has a double thing for, one of them is for the parking brake, but we're not going to use the parking brake. But we still need the brake line itself. So this one's going to go in the front, and this one goes in the back. Let's get the bolt Loctited, of course, blue Loctite. And now we'll do the other guy, blue Loctite. And it goes right there, like so. And it's got this little tab right here that locks on the side of here, so just want to make sure that that's where it needs to be, and it is, and then we can secure it down. Alright, so when we put this clip on right here, make sure that this guy right here clips into the little plastic piece on here. Just goes in there, and then, there we go. So let me just zip this guy down. There you go, just like so. All right, and then one last step for this brake caliper and this brake system. We need to hook the brake line up. Boom, it's gonna go right here to the caliper, and this guy, this little notch is gonna go on top. And we got a banjo bolt with some brand new crush washers. So you want to put one on the front, put it through here, and then put the other washer right like so. And then just thread that dog right on in there. And this banjo bolt gets torqued to 22 foot-pounds. And again, it may take a little bit to squash these down because they're called crush washers. They get crushed. $22, and then give it one more shot since they're crush washers. There it went. Oh yeah. Now we got one more thing left to do up here with the brake system, so yeah, let's move over to the other side again. All right, folks, check it out. One last thing we got left to do up here in the brakes, and that is our brake light. So we have a bracket that's going to go right here, and then the bracket, or the wire, the brake light wire, is going to feed into here, and we'll have to adjust that, of course, later. But let's get this bracket secured down. Of course, we're going to use the blue Loctite, and the other one. And this dog is going to go right here. And the other guy. And you just want to snug these up. Just don't want them too tight, but tight enough. There we go. That should take care of that. Then there's a spring. And what you're going to do is push this guy down from the top. And secure this end, the squiggly end, onto here. And plop it through. And now we can get rid of our tape. So then this just spins onto there. All right, now we can take this little spring and we can hook it right in here. Boom. Now we'll have to adjust this later, of course, when we get the brakes all hooked up and stuff, but we're ready for wiring. All right, folks, so of course luck would have it that this wire goes through this little bracket also. So what we're gonna have to do is take that back apart. And this wire goes around the outside of this guy and goes up through this bracket also. And then the bottom one there we go. And then this, there will be a little clip right here that we're gonna have to put back on. And then it clips right there. Hey, it's on here. What? Check this out. Boom. There we go. Wow. And this is a perfect segue, folks. Woo! This is exciting. We're about ready to hook up the electrical and all of the CDI equipment and the headlights and the tail light. We'll get the bumpers on next episode. Yeah, we'll get the grab bar hooked up. We'll get some of these plastics brackets on, and we'll start to button this thing down, man. Let's get the wire harness in next episode. So yeah, you want to make sure that you stay tuned for that. So yeah, so you want to make sure you subscribe, make sure you click the all, change the notifications from personalized to all, and then you'll get all the notifications from 11 Gallery ATV. Whenever 11 Gallery ATV puts out the new videos, you get notified in your YouTube inbox. It'll tell you, hey, new videos from 11 Gallery ATV. Woo! You'll be able to keep up with this YFZ450 build. This is exciting. We're getting down in there. Pretty soon, we're going to be building the motor, and we can fire it up, let the engines roll. It's time to burn it down. Yeah, Black Label Society rolling a little bit of fired up. So, but you know what time it is. Peace out, Girl Scouts. Woo!